It is already episode 22 of this series, A Polyglot's Journey, so I can't believe that we're this far in. I'm really excited, and we're only just getting started, so this is going to be really an amazing next few months going through this with you guys. And today I have a really exciting update because so far we've been doing German and Portuguese, and you guys might be wondering, how am I going to possibly get all of my 8 languages back up to high levels and even better than they ever were by the end of the year? We don't have that many months left. And so a large part of that is, as I've sort of alluded to, we're going to be adding in languages to the mix, and we're going to be building a very intricate and sort of complex system where we're going to be maintaining lots of languages all at once and doing so in a way that allows us to continue also improving them. We're not going to just try to maintain somehow. No, we'll always be improving as long as we do it the right way. So today, that is the update. Stay tuned to find out which language it's going to be. Hey guys, so it is Monday, and I have to say the weekend was absolutely fantastic. It was extremely busy, but really just sort of continued perfectly from a really insanely productive week last week. And again, a lot of what I'm getting done, it's not just language studies, of course. It's like an insane amount of web development study. I've been taking this huge, like 45-hour course on like React development, and still doing another course on the Mern stack, which is a technology stack that I'm using to build our social network application. And so there's a lot of that being poured in, as well as, of course, like actual progress on the application, and another project that I'm building for my portfolio. And then like I just finished updating my resume finally, really getting all the projects and everything in there, and hopefully a beautiful design. So just to say, it's like last week was insanely busy, and so was this weekend. So I'm feeling great this week to have a few of those things sort of off my chest, off my shoulders, and just to improve, right? So as we saw, last week was amazing for reading in German and for sort of easy German study. I could have been better with Portuguese. I think I could have done more Babel Portuguese. I didn't speak with my friend Viviane very much last week because I was so busy. And then, like I said in yesterday's update, I would like to do a better job of using your feedback to improve my German. So I just love this process of really capitalizing on my activity tracking sheets as a way to really stay aware of exactly how well I'm doing, what are my strong points, what are my weaknesses I could improve. And I'm loving this process of just every week, just trying to improve on the previous week, right? And of course, the challenge is not to simply improve on one thing and then forget to do something else. That will happen to a degree, but the goal is to retain the progress you made and also add to it, right? So I would like to continue reading in German this week. I don't want to like improve on one thing and then get no reading done. So that's really the challenge this week, is to really improve on last week and still continue all the good things I was already doing. For now, I'm just enjoying this beautiful walk. It's lunchtime. It's been an amazing day so far. I really dove in last night and did like 4 lessons of Babel Portuguese. I did some Portuguese this morning at the coffee shop. I just took a walk and did some German reading. So even though I'm so busy right now, just desperately trying to just finish some stuff and some projects and finally get myself in a position to find some development work, I'm still really getting lots of language learning done, and I'm really excited. All right, so here we are, it's the afternoon, And God, today's going so well so far. Just what an amazing start to the week. And so I'm just going to jump right in and let's talk about this third language that we're going to be adding. So far we've had German, Portuguese. Now, German and Portuguese are both languages that I certainly spoke to a degree of fluency, that I've studied a couple different times, but they're both languages that I never smashed through that sort of barrier that we keep talking about, right? So I never really fully just became like a really confident speaker of the two. There are two small dogs that want to kill me. And so because of that, whenever I sort of am not able to study them for an extended period of time, they atrophy quite a lot, right? So with me having to essentially be away from language studies for 8-9 months, but honestly, particularly German and Portuguese, well over a year. It was a very strange year in my life, 2017. And so German and Portuguese got really rusty, and I made a video here, or I guess it'd be here, showing you guys exactly how bad those languages got, right? So Spanish is a bit of a different case, right? So Spanish has been around the longest. I'm going to do a video in Spanish, just like I promised I would do in all of these languages as I add them. So I'll do a video in Spanish, you know, same thing, no preparation at all, just so you guys can see exactly how good my Spanish is. So I'll talk about my story with Spanish more in that video, but just to give you a rundown, you know, Spanish it's a language that I did break through the barrier. So I've spoken Spanish to a pretty high level at certain times. I lived in Spain twice actually, but they were short. So I lived in Barcelona for 2 months, the beginning of 2017. And then I lived in Barcelona again later that year for another 3 months, 3.5 months. So it's a language that I've spoken a lot more than a lot of my other languages, to be honest with you. I've also done some reading. You might remember that really, really fun YouTube series I did about the joys of reading in a foreign language, where I did start reading my very first novel in Spanish. I didn't get very far with it before I unfortunately left the UK, moved again, and then I wasn't able to continue that series. So overall, it's a language that I certainly spoke quite well. I understand Spanish very well, and that I've spoken more, a lot more than, for example, you know, Portuguese, where I've really only spoken Portuguese to a few people. However, it's of course, it's not at its best, that's for sure, right? Because I also have not been doing Spanish for 8-9 months almost now, since I left Barcelona. So the reason I'm doing Spanish right now as the next language is because of that, right? So I want to try to vary this a little bit. So Swedish is really the only other language in the list of 8, which includes English. Swedish is really the only other one that I never broke through the barrier. So the 3 weakest were German, Portuguese, and Swedish. Now, I don't tend to include Dutch on my list, even though I did once speak Dutch fairly fluently, or at least to a degree, but I learned Dutch in a very short period of time, and then I have never really spoken Dutch since then, and that was several years ago. So if I include Dutch in the list, it's actually 9 languages. So excluding Dutch for now, yeah, Swedish is the only other language that was sort of in that weaker stage. Spanish, Italian, Japanese, French, those are all beyond. I mean, I definitely spoke those much better. So I want to vary things because I still have a lot of work to do in my German, a lot of work to do in my Portuguese. And then the other thing is that obviously Spanish and Portuguese are fairly close. And so what I want to make sure doesn't happen, I don't want to sort of switch gears in my brain where I'm really just so focused on Portuguese that when I start speaking Spanish, I'm like in Portuguese mode. I want to make sure that I keep my fitness up in terms of switching between those two languages. And so I think it's a wonderful time to bring in Spanish. So here's how it's going to work. I'm not going to be doing a massive amount of Spanish. My focus is going to be on Portuguese and German at the moment. With Spanish, I've actually set up a language exchange. So I have an old student of mine. His company paid me to teach him English, and we did, they paid for X amount of lessons. We did those. It was several months, and we really enjoyed working together. And he happens to be from Spain. So we decided that we'd like to still continue working together, even though, the classes are finished that his company paid for. So we're going to do a language exchange. I think we're going to try to do twice a week. So I'll be speaking Spanish twice a week with Pablo, and that will be more of a intense language exchange. I have a good friend in Argentina who's Venezuelan that I speak with still. We exchange WhatsApp messages quite a lot. So I'll be, with Spanish, I'm not going to be doing so much intensive study. It's going to be mostly just my sessions with Pablo twice a week, and then random sort of chit chat. And I will be doing some studying with Pablo. So when Pablo lets me know some mistakes I made, and I'll talk to you guys later about my goal with my Spanish study currently. I'll do some stuff, but Spanish is very light. So you'll start to see how this intricate system gets built very organically. I didn't plan this 2 weeks ago. I'm doing this as we go. So still, Portuguese, German are not really going to change. I'm just incorporating Spanish, and you'll see how things progress. It's going to be very exciting. So I don't know when. I might do it tomorrow. I'll do it sometime this week. I'll do a video in Spanish so you guys can see how it is. And there we go. So really exciting. So that's, if you count English, that's 4 of our languages basically in the mix. So we still have another few to go. So it's going to be really fun to see how that all works out. And at the end of the year, I'm telling you, all those languages, I'm going to be speaking them at high levels. Swedish is going to be the interesting one because, like I said, Swedish is the only other language in that list that was in that category with German and Portuguese. So what's going to happen is I'll add Swedish later on, after German and Portuguese are really strong. So once German is really strong and like through the barrier, right, then that will be a perfect time to add Swedish, and then I will do Swedish probably really intensively nearer the end of the year, and then bring that through the barrier as well. So the goal is to enter 2019 speaking 8 languages very well, very confidently, and with all of them through the barrier, so that I can enjoy those for the rest of my life, continuing to implement all the things I love, which is basically going to just be enjoying speaking those languages, enjoying reading books in all those languages, watching films, and just enjoying life and letting those languages enrich every moment.